Today's guest is Camille Chen. Camille is a very busy actress. She's had guest starring roles in many TV shows such as American Horror Story, Law and Order Criminal Intent, Castle, God Friended Me, and many more. She's also been in major movies such as Game Night, starring Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman, playing a very snarky fertility doctor. Camille is also an extremely successful commercial actress. You may have seen her in commercials for Red Baron Pizza, Motorola, and my personal favorite, State Farm, where you can hear her vocal stylings. So with no further ado, Camille Chen. Hi, good.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, so nice to meet you.
Nice to
So,
meet you.
how you doing? Well, thanks for joining. How's things looking on the West Coast?
Insanity.
Insanity?
It's crazy right now, yeah. Things are starting to open back up, and I just think they're being hasty, honestly.
Okay.
And there are protests every day. Every single day there's protests all
Yeah.
over the city. So that combined with things opening up and Newsom saying that production can start June 14th, as long as they follow like health regulations and all that stuff. I just don't know what, COVID has been like pushed to the back now.
Right, because of the whole George Floyd incident, sure. Yeah.
So nobody's really talking about that anymore. So with everything opening back up, and with all the gatherings, I just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
I know. I see all the notifications that they're going to try to clean the set, and they bought some expensive equipment that's going to, I don't know, do infrared or something. But did they really test that out? I mean, how accurate is that, So
Right. I don't know. I thought they were going to take June to test all of that.
That's what I thought too.
So, yeah. So when he announced June 14th, I was like, because I have a couple of friends who are showrunners, and they're getting told by the networks August. So
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I actually started getting some auditions for one for an animated series. It was a series regular. That was like a couple of days ago. So they must be, well, I guess with the cartoon, it's not as much of an issue, right?
Right. Yeah. You're like by yourself in the recording studio and all that stuff. But how are things over there?
Today was like phase one in the city opening up. So like the MTA service is restarted to like normal. And then on the 15th, they're going to allow restaurants to allow people to eat inside, but they got to keep that 6-foot distance. But we'll see how it goes. It's a crazy time.
MTA. Wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
Like people are going to start. Yeah.
So that's going to help. But anyway, I'm so glad that you came. I'm a big fan of yours. I'm so impressed that you could do, usually an actor can do drama or they can do comedy. They can't do both. I can do drama, but I can't do comedy. But
are you sure you can't?
I can. I don't know. People say I'm not funny.
Who says that?
You are not funny, so stop.
Who says that to you? Screw them.
Mostly my mother. But
well, yeah.
But yeah, I love your work. I know you've done a lot of national commercials. My personal favorite is the State Farm commercial, because not only is it extremely cute, but you show off your vocal stylings. So
it's so funny because I was supposed to not be a great singer, and I'm not by no means like a professional singer, but I'm not tone deaf.
No,
and
you're not.
So I remember on the set the ad agency and the director telling me, like, could you just be a little worse? Like you sound too good.
You're good, yeah.
Actually supposed to be awkward and bad, but
very good. It's definitely the more enjoyable State Farm commercial. Nothing against State Farm, but that was my favorite. But yeah, so you've done. I know you've done commercials for Red Baron Pizza, State Farm, Wendy's, Febreze, Motorola. I mean,
Yeah.
with these national commercials, as an actor, there's that big push at my level. The agents, they don't want you to go SAG because so many of the commercials now are like non-union, right? Some of them are. I don't know how they get away with non-union, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, or I don't know how they do that. But I know that on here on the East Coast, a lot of the commercial agents want you to stay non-union, or at least FICOR, because they say you could still do like a national. I've done national commercials, I've done non-union commercials, but yeah, my agent in particular, she's like, stay non-union as long as possible.
Really?
Yeah,
That is
because of the
not.
commercials mostly. It's because of the commercials, and she's saying that most of the SAG work you can do anyway. You can just stay SAG eligible as long as possible. But
That's interesting. That is not the conversation here. We're really fighting for union work, and we have boycotted a couple of ad agencies who have gone non-union,
yeah,
and
I think so.
yeah, and then they turned around, and there are companies as well that have turned around and become union because we went on strike, basically.
Sure, sure. I
Yeah.
still don't understand how they can get away with it. It's these are national brands, and it's surprising to me. But
Well, yeah, they can do whatever they want, really. Um, and like you said, there are actors who will do non-union work or be FICOR or so it's really a personal preference.
sure.
It's your choice, and I'm not gonna judge anybody for being FICOR. I have one of my best friends, she was the Orbit Gum girl. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, but when her campaign ended, she's a model too, and a lot of print work is non-union. So even though she was this huge face of
yes.
union national campaign,
Hmm.
she was doing she was FICOR because she has a daughter and she has a family to support, and that is a choice that am not I'm not going to do non-union or FICOR work. But
Hmm.
again, it's everybody's personal choice, and um my agent, the second I could join SAG, they urged me to.
Heard you too. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was like in 2004 or something. Yeah.
Mhm. No, it's great because an actress like yourself is so busy, doing commercials, doing sitcoms, doing movies, dramas, and you're so multi-talented that you could actually do all that without being, oh, I can't do comedy or I can't do drama because I'm used to a certain mode of acting, and to be flexible is, I think, the big part of it. I know when I saw you on Game Night, Jason Bateman movie. It was just, I mean, you were very deadpan, but it was hysterical. I mean, anybody didn't see it, watch it. Camille steals the show. But
Oh,
I
thanks.
loved your performance. It was so funny, and it was so even keeled, and you were like insulting Jason Bateman, but being very like medical about it. So it
Oh
was,
my gosh, it was so fun. And it was so fun when I auditioned for it. It was just that the one scene, and but I remember when we turned around on Jason and it was his single. Um, well, first of all, I made him break. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I made him break. And he started laughing. And then I remember the director had given him a note that
Mhm.
I could see he was like processing. And so I just asked him, I was like, is there anything I can do to help you?
Sure.
And he was like, no, 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 no. Honestly, I feel like we're wasting you on this like one scene. And I was like, what? And then they ended up writing me in the end,
Yes. Yeah.
um, which was amazing. And fingers crossed for like a sequel or something.
Sure. Sure. That was a very
Yeah.
funny movie. I would love to see you in it again. It's fantastic. Um,
Thanks.
So you were born in Taiwan, right? And then you moved to the United States. So when did you get the acting bug? Was it in grade school or? High
Oh
school?
no. It was my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually never performed, and I didn't really know that I wanted to
Sure.
perform. I was in choir and I
Mhm.
was a cheerleader.
Okay.
So I guess that's performing in a
Sure,
way.
absolutely. Totally.
Yeah. But my senior year, my choir teacher said, you should audition for the school musical. And that year they were doing a chorus line.
Oh, nice.
And yeah. And again, I'm not a trained singer or dancer, but I
Hmm.
can pick up things pretty
Hmm.
quickly. Like I'm a good mimic.
Okay.
And so, well, I auditioned, and I'm pretty sure no other Asian people auditioned. So that's why I got the part. But I got the role of Connie Wong,
Oh, okay.
and it was, I mean, just like the time of my life. It was so fun. But then even as I entered college, I did not pursue theater until the second semester of my freshman year. I
Mhm.
transferred to fine arts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were your parents cool with it? I know Asian parents. I mean, my mom was like, theater? No, no theater. You stick with engineering, math. Yes.
Yeah. My mom was pretty cool.
Oh,
Um she's a single mom, and we're immigrants, and so I
mhm.
mean she had like bigger fish to fry. Do you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Sure.
bigger battles. And so I think she loosened up the reins on me a little bit.
Right.
But I don't think she took it seriously until I started booking work in LA. So,
Yes.
and yeah, and even when I worked in Austin, where I went to college, even when I worked in Austin, I think she thought it was not a serious
Mhm.
career. Yeah,
Yeah.
but she wasn't unsupportive, but she like didn't really think it was like a real thing, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, sure. I totally understand. So like probably gone, oh, Camille's just going through this phase and sure, got
Yeah, yeah.
it.
In fact,
Right.
when I moved out to LA, she said, "You know what? You should give yourself a time frame. So you should give yourself a year in LA." And I was like, "A year?"
A
Like,
year? Okay.
um,
You know how hard it is to book stuff, but
I know.
okay. But you did it. You did it. You booked something within the year.
I At the very end of the year I booked those
Well,
Old Navy commercials. Yeah.
that's fine.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it just the unrealistic sort of the fact that I even got a commercial agent within my first 6 months. My mom didn't understand what a great feat that was,
Sure. Totally.
you know? So,
Totally. But so what was the driving force between going to LA over New York? Was there like were you thinking, oh well, LA's got more stuff going on, or
no, I actually always wanted to move to New York over LA, but I did a horror film after college in just north of Dallas, and one of the producers was a casting director for UPN, and he had
okay?
just yeah, and he had just decided to start producing, and he told me that he wanted to become a manager, and
Oh,
he said,
awesome.
yeah, and so he said, if you ever move to LA, I would love to represent you as a manager. And I was hearing how difficult it was to get representation, so I just
Sure.
kind of took that opportunity and
Hmm.
moved. Yeah, and started working with him. And because he was a casting director, he had all those relationships with all the agents and
Right.
managers, you know.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so that definitely is a sign that you're going in the right direction. I think when
Oh yeah, I
you
just
align like that.
yeah, ran with it.
So after you did the Old Navy commercial, then you started booking like guest starring roles, right? You didn't do any co-stars or day player roles. You went straight to guest
No,
star.
no, I did Without a Trace. Do you remember that show?
I think so.
It was like Rosalind Sanchez and Poppy Montgomery. Um, it was a procedural, but I did a co-star role on that.
Okay. Okay.
And then honestly think I just got lucky. in booking my first guest star, and then you kind of just don't go back from
No.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just had to keep pushing forward. Even though I didn't have a lot on my resume, and I was willing to do co-stars because I just wanted to work,
Sure, sure, sure.
but my manager encouraged me not to take a step back after I.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like once you get that first guest star, I mean, I don't think you should start doing co-stars again. It probably, I mean, I have mostly co-stars. And they're just, I can't stand them. It's just like,
No,
you come in with a couple of lines and it's just like, I don't,
co-stars
you
are
know,
hard.
yeah,
They're hard because you only have a couple lines, and it's like you can do it so many different ways. Like co-star auditions are hard.
yeah.
Harder than, because you have less
There's
to
less
work
to
with.
work with, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you went to, so the first guest star, the big one that you had was Studio City on the Sunset Strip. Was that Aaron Sorkin's production?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Studios.
What was that about? I'm trying to remember what that was. I do remember seeing it, I think, and I think I saw you too, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's such a good show. I mean, Sorkin's a genius.
Yeah.
It's just such a shame that it didn't get, more recognition, just because Middle America, like the demographic and the Nielsen ratings of Middle America, those are the people who really watch the most television, who like will sit and watch hours of television,
Okay.
and they didn't have any interest in the premise of the show, which was, it was the behind the scenes of a Saturday Night Live sketch show.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
And
interesting.
yeah, and Sarah Paulson was in it, and she played like the Kristen Wiig of the show within the show.
Hmm.
And Matthew Perry was like the head writer.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, just there were just these huge actors in it. But in that same the season that it premiered, 30 Rock also premiered on the same network.
Okay.
And 30 Rock was a half hour about a Saturday Night Live sketch show. So it was like two shows about the same thing, but one was a drama and one was a comedy. And yeah, and 30 Rock just was more successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always unfortunate, especially when there's something so talented with such a talented crew, talented cast, talented writer, but it's just the timing, right? Sometimes the timing is.
It was timing, yeah, and it was just like the state of America at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to watch, and I just remember after, when we got picked up for our back nine, we knew that we were probably not going to get renewed. But they gave us the full season. They gave us 22 episodes. But I remember the network appealing to Aaron to write a more network friendly, like less political and network friendly plotline.
Okay.
To appeal to all those people who weren't watching,
Right. Right.
So he kind of amped up the love story between Sarah and Matt, and like he amped up there's a war story. Nate Cordry's brother was in the war, and they kind of amped that up to appeal to Middle America, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I the only people who really loved it were people in the industry.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look for it. I definitely want to see it. It ran for 2 seasons, 1 season?
No, just one.
Just one. Okay. Yeah. I know the last thing I saw, the last 2 things I remember you in, one of them was the Tupac and Biggie series, where you played a LAPD Grace Kim, I think.
Yeah.
And was that based on a real character, or was that
the whole thing? The whole thing was.
The whole thing. So this character was having an affair with Jimmy Simpson's character.
Yes.
Okay.
And that, because the whole series was based on the true
What was
events.
going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened. I remember, um, of course, your character was upset because he went back to his wife, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, and you played that really well. Um, but did they show what happened after that? I can't. I'm trying to recall because I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't record it to look, and I don't remember how it went from there. Was because that could have been just on that. I found that very interesting. That whole thing because you have so many things going on, but this you still have this drama between these two people, and I wanted to see a little bit more of what was going on with your character, Grace Kim, and Jimmy Simpson's character.
Well, I think that well, they ended it there,
They ended it there. Okay.
which in real life it did end, but she went a little crazy in real life and like showed up at his doorstep and threatened to kill herself and stuff like that. But
Ooh.
they yeah. But I don't think they included that in the show because it would have taken away
Yeah.
from the murders.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was already kind of like, as I remember, it's kind of like building up steam. So I started like more paying attention more to your relationship with Jimmy Simpson. What's going on here? And
Yeah.
then conversation there, I was like, okay, what happened? And then I don't remember. Yeah. And then I guess it just ended. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah. It ended. He went back to his wife. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't think they wanted to pull focus from Biggie and Tupac, you know?
Right. And then recently I saw you, was it recent? I think, yeah, last year. I was on God Friended Me. I think
Oh yeah, I was pregnant. I shot
you,
that.
you were pregnant at the time.
I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
it was a great episode because you played a scientist, right? Adopted Asian American, Heidi James, right? And your character it was like very multi-layered because she was like, I'm adopted. I don't know anything about my birth parents, but through the episode, she reconnects with her family, and or her sister, whatever. But I love the acting, what you did there with it because it was very nuanced, and brought a little tear in my eye.
Oh.
But, did you do any research into, or did you I guess you put your mind into the mind of somebody who is adopted, who doesn't know about their family or know about their birth family?
Yeah. What are you asking me? Like,
Oh, I'm just wondering, like, what your thought process is, or what you were thinking as you're doing this character. What you need to do to make this character more alive, which you did beautifully. And
thank you. The backstory was written for me.
yes,
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really have to come up with anything. Like the
right,
writers did such a good job
of fleshing the character.
in giving me the information, for
Right,
that I needed for the character. So then that allowed me to really focus on the episode scene by scene. So in whatever particular scene that I was shooting in the moment, I really put my focus on what I needed from the other person in the scene.
right.
Yeah, on my need and my objective. And so, and that's a lot easier when you're shooting out of order, which a lot of TV shows do.
Yes.
So when you shoot out of order, then what I like to do is establish my need in that moment, in that scene.
In the moment. Okay.
Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of preparation I needed to do for the character,
Okay.
So say you're adopted, then your super objective is to be wanted, is to be fought for
Right.
because you were abandoned, because your parents didn't want you.
Yeah.
So that makes it really easy to ground myself, to be like, oh God, that I know how that feels,
Right. Totally. Yeah, you did that so well. Did you, when you auditioned for that, was you read the backstory and you were able to flush out that whatever scene that they gave you, and is that so? You attacked it in that manner.
It was actually a straight offer.
Oh, it was a straight offer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I totally understand because I mean you've built up a fantastic body of work, so that would
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Then
but
when they need an Asian girl who can cry,
yeah, you
they
cry really
need
well.
to call Camille.
I cannot cry on command. I had to cry on one series where my wife was shot in the head, and they're like, "Greg, cry. Your wife just died," and I was, it's not happening.
Well,
So,
I mean, they shouldn't. That's really bad. That's bad direction, though. They
yeah,
can't. The second they say, "Okay, cry. I'm gonna need some tears," like that's not helpful. You feel
hmm
the pressure, and it's most likely not gonna happen.
no, didn't happen. I end up just
Yeah,
covering
they
my face a lot.
yeah, they need to tell you something different, to get you there. But anyway.
Absolutely. I know you worked with a lot of A-listers like Sarah Paulson and Jason Bateman and Game Night. Are there any A-listers that you particularly liked working with? That there was a certain dynamic that you guys had, or that you felt very comfortable with, or you felt that
Yeah.
you were doing your best? Uh-huh.
Well, Jason and Rachel McAdams, they were awesome.
Hmm.
And Kyle Chandler, in the movie as well, just like lovely, grounded people.
Hmm.
Um, and complimentary, we need so much validation, and a lot of times we don't get it because there's so much going on, and a lot of directors are so focused on other things.
Sure, sure.
So, who else did I love working with? Oh, Matt Moy on Two Broke Girls. He was
Yes.
so lovely. He was, and
Hmm.
Beth and Kat, like on the whole cast of Two Broke Girls, was so welcoming and fun and funny. And I also did a pilot last year called Carol's Second Act, and Patricia
Hmm.
Heaton, and I had
Hmm.
just had a baby. My baby was 3 months, so I was still like pumping and breastfeeding, and
Sure.
Patricia Heaton was so supportive. She has 4 sons,
Oh my God. Okay. Four sons.
and yeah, and she was like, you know what? You let me know if you need to go pump, or
Sure.
bring your baby to set. We'll make sure you're taken care of. Like, just so it was such an awesome um, welcome to the set.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
You have a boy or a girl?
a girl.
A girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Much easier. I know my brother-in-law has two boys. They are out of control.
Yeah.
When they come over, it is like a disaster. They just wreck the entire. It's like a
How old
hurricane.
are they?
So they're 7 and 5, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of control.
Well, don't worry, because when there's that switch. So when girls get their period, they become psychopaths. And then like and then the boys calm down,
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. But at this age, the early age, girls are much better. They're smart. They think
Yes.
about what they're going to do. Yes. Yeah.
Much, yeah.
So, what uh, what roles do you want to tackle? Is there something that you haven't tackled yet that you want to tackle, or what would be your dream role? I guess.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, when I did game night, that was my first time playing that sort of cold, deadpan.
I loved it. I loved it.
I loved it,
I
and
loved it.
I would, and I get called to play that role, um, often, but I've yet to book like a series regular in that sort of in that vein, because I think fundamentally a little I'm a little goofier and empathic and sort of like soft,
Okay.
Um, so, but they always want the Asian woman to play like that cold
Yeah.
boss lady.
Yeah.
Um, so I actually just put myself on tape for us an NBC pilot, and it's that role, but I would love to, I mean, that's fun for me to play
Hmm.
like the dry, bitchy, um, sort of. boss, you know?
Sure. I
So I
mean,
just,
the way what you did in game night was fantastic. I'm not saying you're bitchy, but I think you can do it. I don't think anybody can do better than you. I loved it. I was like, I want to see more of Camille in this, but
uh,
I really enjoyed it. I know with the pilot season, I did a pilot called "The President Is Missing." It was a Bill
oh yeah.
Clinton, yeah, and then it just. I was lucky to do my scene, and then it was a coaster. I was lucky to do my scene, and then it stopped. And then I don't think they resumed production. I had a scene with Janet McTeer, and I don't know, like, in your opinion, so the pilot season pretty much just stopped, and it's still going to continue. Do you think? Are they going to reboot it, or I'm getting so much mixed messages on what's going to happen when.
It just depends. I think the networks are trying to make decisions based on showrunners,
Okay.
based on EPs who have had success in series.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, pilot season's kind of over. There's some pilots that are still going to be shot, but they are picking series straight, picking up pilots straight to series
Yes.
based on, you know, like David E. Kelly's pilot for ABC got picked up straight to series solely based on the fact that his pilot's easy to shoot in quarantine because it's a lot of two-person scenes in open
Hmm.
fields. It's called
Yeah.
the Big Sky, and based on his reputation as a showrunner. So they're like,
Hmm.
oh, he'll we don't need to test out a pilot for David E. Kelly. We know
Right.
he will.
Sure. There's a track record, massive track record. Yeah.
Right.
I'm
So
wondering if that one got picked up. I assume it did too because it had like Janet McTeer and the guy from The Walking Dead. I can't remember his name right now. Michael Rooker, and I mean, it had like an A-list cast. So I'm
yeah.
hoping because that was a recurring co-star. So wouldn't mind knowing.
Oh yeah. I mean, fingers crossed. You never know.
You never know. But
What
I
network?
think, have you seen? Do you feel that there's more of a trend to have, since Fresh Off the Boat has ended, Asian-centric shows? I heard that there was going to be something about something with Ken Jeong. I don't know if it got picked up. I don't know what happened
Yeah.
with that.
I tested for that one.
Okay.
Um, I tested to play his wife.
Okay.
It was called The Emperor of Malibu.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
What happened with
and
it?
it did not get picked up.
It did not get picked up.
No, but Kevin Kwan wrote it,
Yeah.
who wrote Crazy Rich Asians. It was basically Crazy Rich Asians, the sitcom,
This is,
and Ken was playing uh, the dad of the Henry Golding character,
okay.
and
Okay.
then I tested to play like the Michelle Yeoh
Okay.
role.
Okay.
But they did shoot it. But it didn't get picked up.
It didn't get picked up. Yeah. That's the issue of the whole Middle America guy, right? Whereas
I
if
don't know. I really don't know, honestly, because Fresh Off the Boat did really well.
yes,
Um, Ken had another pilot, Dr. Ken, that did well.
that was funny. I
Yeah,
don't know why people didn't like that. I thought that was hilarious, but
yeah.
yeah.
I think, and then this past pilot season, there were a couple of Asian pilots, and there was like a Jessica Gao pilot and something else. But
There was Kung Fu, the reboot of Kung Fu. Um,
oh, that's right, that got picked up.
that got picked up. Yes, that
Yeah,
got
yeah,
picked up. Yeah, the like a young girl was the main lead. She hadn't
yeah.
done much. I was pretty impressed, but it got picked up. So I guess the network makes a decision. We're just going to go with these guys. I mean, obviously David E. Kelly, I think we're going to go with him, but I
I
don't
feel
know.
like they shot the Kung Fu pilot though, so that networks could see it and they could focus group it.
Right.
I think they already shot it, right? Before they.
I don't think so. I think they only shot part of it because I know one of the kids, one of the guys is in it, a young kid. He said they didn't do his scene, so he's kind of worried. But it did get.
Oh,
I said, well, it got green lit, so
good. Yeah.
yeah, so that's good. But yeah, I don't know. I know you were on Law and Order a couple of times.
Hmm.
So how does it work with Law and Order? If you're on Law and Order, I know because they pick a lot of people to play cast. Do they see your work in these previous episodes and decide? I mean, actually, I remember your role was fantastic. It was Not SVU, right? It was just regular Law and Order that you were on?
The
Or you were
original.
on Choice, right?
I was in the original, and then I was on Criminal Intent.
Criminal Intent, yes. The original, you played a serial killer, right? Or killer? Or...
No, not serial. I killed one person.
Okay, just one.
But I was a complete sociopath.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I like kind of hooked up with Jeremy's sister.
Jeremy's sister, who's on the show now.
The show's
No.
canceled.
Yeah, that show's canceled. Isn't one of the guys on? He became like one of the cops on SVU later.
I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, I'd love to watch that again. Gotta look for it. But yeah, no, I know a lot of people who are on Law and Order. They get an opportunity to join cast later. I mean, not a lot, but I know they've done that before. They bring back characters and actors in different roles and whatnot. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I auditioned for that original Law and Order, and then the Criminal Intent was an offer.
We're not sure. Okay.
Yeah, and I do think it was based on like Dick Wolf seeing my work in the original one.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yes.
Because it was a completely different role.
Okay. So the second role on Criminal Intent, you were obviously not not a killer. I'm sorry. You played a doctor, or?
I was a killer.
Oh, you're a killer again. Okay.
Yeah, but it was not. It was my mom was the mastermind of the murder. It was Rosalind Chow.
Yes, I do remember that one. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Confusing the two. Okay. Okay. Awesome. And how should it work with? She must be amazing.
Oh God, she's the best.
She's the best.
So loving and kind.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like she treated me like I was her own daughter.
Yes. Yeah, I can. Were there any particular guest starring roles that you really enjoyed, that you felt like you got your teeth into, that showed your best? Any?
I loved Law and Order, that original one. That was super fun. And God Friended Me.
Yes, that was really good.
Yeah. I just worked. Oh, you know what? I had a lot of fun on Single Parents.
Single Parents. Okay.
Yeah, that it just got canceled, unfortunately. But but it was with Taron Killam and Leighton Meester.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun because they gave us freedom to ad lib and improvise, because Taron Killam's SNL.
Yes.
And, so we did takes on script, and then they would let us improvise, and it was just so fun because the writers would collaborate with us.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, "Oh God, that was so funny what you said there. Can you keep that? And then what can you say here?" And we would collaborate to come up with, ad libs and alt lines and stuff like that. It was so fun.
Nice. That sounds great. That was an NBC show, or that was?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Okay. Unfortunately.
Or ABC, because it was Jason. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his last name. He did Modern Family.
That is ABC.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any words of wisdom to any actors that are struggling? Anything to? I know Jenna Fisher says just keep trying, keep going, or anything that you want to impart?
I mean, yeah, don't give up unless you have to have the passion for it, and it's not about booking.
Mm-hmm.
If you make it about booking, then you're not focused on the work.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if you go into an audition, I mean, it's easier said than done.
Sure.
But if you go into an audition and you're like, "Oh, I really want to book this because I'm thinking about the credit and I'm thinking about paying my bills."
Sure.
It's most likely going to show in your audition, because
absolutely. Because you're not desperate, right? They're desperate or like needy.
There's a sense of desperation, but it's also you're just not focused on the other person in the scene at all. Then it's all about you and what's in your head.
Right. Right.
So I always say to make the reader the most important person in the room, because otherwise you might as well be doing a monologue.
I see.
You have to have that relationship with the other person in the scene. Even if the reader is like an intern and terrible, you
Mhm.
have to make them the most important person and get that need,
Okay.
whatever it is you need from them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the scene will be active and really fascinating to watch as opposed to self-indulgent.
Sure. I think that's one of the biggest problems that a lot of actors have, myself included, is that you come into the room and you're like, you think it's all about you, right? It doesn't come, it kills the scene, right? Because you have to bring the reader, like you said. And that's such an important golden nugget that a lot of us forget. So,
It's hard to remember because yeah, I mean, you just want to work and it's competition and, there's
sure.
comparison and what is that person doing that I'm not doing? And
Right.
it, but yeah, it's not about you.
Okay.
It's about the other person in the scene.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had women in the past tell me that it's not about you, Greg, but
Yeah, I mean, if
that's
you want
aside.
it about you,
Yeah.
do a one-man show.
Lastly, was there any auditions that you really bombed that stand out in your mind that were like particularly bad?
Gosh, so many. Um, if anybody says they don't have bad auditions, lying. Gosh. Okay, I had my baby on January 18th of last year, and
Wonderful.
what'd you say?
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. But that's the beginning of pilot season, pretty
Yes.
much.
Right.
And so 2 weeks after I had my baby, my manager said, "How are you feeling?" Their casting directors like asking if you'll come in for this, and for me, I was like, you know what? Yes, I'm ready. Like I did not know what I was thinking, and I went into an audition for a pilot for a series regular. I I kind I knew the material, but I wasn't completely off book because I was sleep deprived, and
Sure. Understandable.
but it was a straight to producer session, and Heather Graham was one of the producers, and I love her. Like I love Boogie Nights. And so I was like revving myself up and like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, but I had had a baby 2 weeks before, and
Sure.
I went into the room and just bombed. Like I was all over the place and I was like phoning it in, and I could see the casting director. I could see his face fall a little bit, and then afterwards I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I should not have come in today. I had a baby 2 weeks ago, and they're like, "What? You had a baby 2 weeks ago?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "I don't know what I was thinking. Please don't base your opinion on my abilities based on this performance."
Sure. Sure. Yeah, it's always bad when the casting director looks down like this. Then I'm like, oh yeah, it's not going.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not going well. I did one. I had a really bad audition for a commercial audition for an ice cream, Borden's Golden Vanilla Ice Cream, and I memorized the copy and I went in. And I was like, I got this. I got this. And I completely froze when I was in there. And there, something about the dialogue was, the ice cream is like grandma made, and I'm like, well, my grandma didn't make ice cream; she made kimchi. But so it was I just couldn't. It just wasn't happening.
Oh,
Well, congratulations on your baby, Camille, and
thank
thank you,
you.
thank you so much for talking to me. And I'm gonna put this up. We're gonna promo it. It's gonna be pretty good. Hopefully, more
Okay,
people
great.
know about how great and talented you are. How do you know Ian? Ian.
Oh, he's my brother-in-law.
He's your brother-in-law. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I mean, in the dictionary, when you look under "good guy," you see Ian's face. He's a
He is a
wonderful.
really good guy.
He's
Yeah,
really cool.
his brother's my husband.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Thanks again, Camille. Hopefully, when you come to New York, maybe we can get something to eat or something, or I can take
Sure.
you. Yes,
Yeah,
we're
so
6 feet apart.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thanks, Camille. Bye bye.
Bye.